Summer 1987. A single-cylinder thumper rolled off Kawasaki's assembly line that would rewrite the rules of adventure riding forever. They called it crude. They called it agricultural. Military forces around the world called it perfect. This is the untold story of the engine mechanics dubbed the AK-47 of motorcycles, and the shocking secret that nearly killed it before it conquered the world. Birth of an immortal. By 1987, the adventure motorcycle world was crying out for something different. BMW's Boxer twins were sophisticated but fragile. Honda's multi-cylinder machines were smooth but complex. What riders really needed, especially those over 45 who valued reliability over flash, was something that could cross continents, survive on the worst fuel imaginable, and keep running when everything else gave up. Enter Kawasaki's engineering team with a mission that wasn't to build the fastest bike or the prettiest. It was to build something unkillable. Something so simple, so robust, that it could survive anything the world threw at it. The heart of this machine would be a 651 cubic centimeter liquid-cooled DOHC single. Not the sexiest configuration, but Kawasaki knew something their competitors didn't. For the mature rider, that experienced motorcyclist in his 40s, 50s, and beyond, who had money to invest and time for real adventures, reliability trumped everything else. The thumper's secret weapon. What made the KLR650's engine special wasn't what it had, it was what it didn't have. While other manufacturers chased complexity, Kawasaki embraced simplicity. The 651 cubic centimeter single featured a massive bore and stroke, creating a long stroke design that prioritized torque over peak horsepower. This wasn't an accident. Kawasaki understood that adventure riders, particularly the mature, experienced riders who would become the KLR's core audience, didn't need 100 horsepower. They needed 40 horsepower they could count on, delivered with the kind of low-end grunt that could pull a loaded bike up a mountain pass or through deep sand. The liquid cooling system was equally brilliant in its simplicity. A single radiator, basic water pump, and straightforward thermostat. No complex multi-zone cooling, no electronic fans, no failure-prone sensors. Just enough cooling to keep the big single happy, even in Death Valley heat. But the real genius lay in the engine's internal architecture. The DOHC head used a simple two-valve design. One intake, one exhaust. Modern? No. Reliable? Absolutely. Fewer valves meant fewer things to break, fewer adjustments to make, and easier repairs in the middle of nowhere. Military validation. The KLR650's reputation as the AK-47 of motorcycles wasn't just marketing hyperbole. It was earned in the crucible of military service. The US Army adopted the KLR650 as the M1030M1, and what they discovered shocked even Kawasaki's engineers. In Afghanistan's brutal conditions, temperatures swinging from freezing to 120 degrees Fahrenheit, altitudes reaching 14,000 feet, dust storms that could choke a camel, the KLR's simple single kept running. While sophisticated European bikes succumbed to clogged air filters and overheated electronics, the KLR just thumped along, mile after reliable mile. The military even converted some units to run on diesel fuel. Think about that for a moment. They took a gasoline engine and made it burn diesel, and it worked. That's the kind of bulletproof engineering that made the KLR legendary among soldiers and civilians alike. As one veteran wrote in a popular adventure riding forum, "We tried to break those KLRS. We really did. We ran them without oil changes, fed them contaminated fuel, rode them through rivers. They just kept going. It was almost supernatural." The doohickey conspiracy. But every legend has its Achilles heel, and the KLR650's was infamous among owners. They called it the doohickey, a seemingly innocent cam chain tensioner lever and spring that had a nasty habit of breaking at the worst possible moments. Fixing the doohickey became almost a rite of passage for KLR owners, spawning an entire aftermarket industry. Companies like Eagle Mike and Thumper Talk built businesses selling upgraded tensioners, heavy-duty springs, and installation tools. The doohickey is the KLR's only real weakness, wrote veteran motorcycle journalist Mark Phillips in a 2010 review. Fix that, and you've got a bike that will outlast your grandchildren. What's remarkable is how this single flaw became so central to the KLR's identity. Owners didn't abandon the bike. They embraced the quirk, shared solutions, and created communities around fixing it. The doohickey problem became part of the KLR experience, a small price to pay for an otherwise bulletproof machine. The vibration revelation. The KLR650's single-cylinder engine produces vibrations that would shake apart lesser machines. But Kawasaki turned this apparent weakness into a strength through clever engineering. Instead of trying to eliminate the vibrations, they managed them. The engine mounts, frame geometry, and even the seat foam were designed to work with the engine's natural frequency, creating what riders describe as a living feeling, the sense that the bike has a heartbeat. The KLR's vibrations actually help prevent fatigue on long rides, explains veteran adventure rider John Callahan, who's logged over 200,000 miles on his 2008 model. The constant rhythmic motion keeps blood flowing and muscles engaged. It's like a full-body massage at 65 miles per hour. Long-distance KLR riders often report that the specific frequency of the big single, around 40 Hz at cruising speed, enhances rider awareness and reduces the risk of highway hypnosis. What critics dismissed as a flaw, owners came to appreciate as a feature. The fuel efficiency compromise. For years, KLR owners complained about poor fuel economy and rough running. The culprit was hiding in plain sight: the carburetor. The KLR 650 used a Kahin CVK40 carburetor that was jetted lean from the factory to meet EPA standards. This compromise helped the bike pass emissions tests, but it hurt performance and fuel economy in real-world riding. The solution was simple: rejetting the carburetor with slightly richer jets. This became one of the most common modifications among KLR owners, with forums filled with detailed guides on how to optimize the fuel mixture for better performance. Rejetting the carb is the best $50 you'll ever spend on a KLR, wrote ADV Rider Forum member KLR Guru in a post that's been viewed over 50,000 times. It transforms the bike from a wheezy tractor to a willing partner. When fuel injection finally arrived in 2022, it solved the problem overnight. The new KLR 650 delivered better fuel economy and significantly smoother power delivery. But it took 35 years and thousands of owner-performed modifications to get there. The weight deception. Critics always hammered the KLR 650 for being overweight. 432 pounds wet was porky compared to European competition. But Kawasaki's weight distribution was a masterclass in physics that most riders never understood. The engine's placement created a center of gravity that made the bike feel lighter than it actually was. This wasn't luck. It was deliberate engineering that prioritized stability over spec sheet bragging rights. The KLR feels 50 pounds lighter than it is, noted veteran motorcycle tester Paul Davidson in his 1997 comparison review. While lighter bikes felt nervous and twitchy on the interstate, the KLR planted itself in the lane and stayed there, mile after comfortable mile. The strategy worked. The KLR's weight distribution provided stability at highway speeds and helped the bike track straight in crosswinds, qualities that the mature, experienced riders who formed the KLR's core audience valued far more than lightweight agility. The longevity legend. Perhaps the most shocking truth about the KLR 650 engine is how long it actually lasts. While Kawasaki's official service intervals called for major maintenance every 15,000 miles, real-world experience tells a different story. Adventure Rider magazine's 2019 reader survey tracked hundreds of KLR 650s and found the average engine lasted well over 100,000 miles before requiring major work. The longest-lived example, a 1994 model owned by Alaska bush pilot Tom Harrison, had over 300,000 miles on the original engine when it was finally retired. "I changed the oil every 3,000 miles and replaced the doohickey twice," Harrison told the magazine. "Other than that, it just ran, and ran, and ran. I wore out 3 sets of tires for every oil change, and that engine never missed a beat." The secret to this longevity lies in the engine's conservative design. Peak power comes at just 6,500 RPM, low enough that internal stresses remain manageable even after hundreds of thousands of miles. The large displacement means the engine never has to work hard to produce usable power, and the simple two-valve head design eliminates the complexity that kills other engines. The forum theories. By the early 2000s, the KLR650 had developed a cult following online. Adventure riding forums buzzed with theories about why such a simple, affordable bike continued to thrive while more expensive alternatives came and went. Some riders speculated that the motorcycle industry had a vested interest in downplaying the KLR's capabilities. Why would they want you to know a $6,500 bike can do 90% of what a $20,000 bike can do? Wrote one popular forum member. The KLR is the industry's worst-kept secret. These theories gained traction when magazine reviews consistently criticized the KLR's weight, vibration, and agricultural nature while praising more expensive alternatives. Forum members noted that the same flaws reviewers complained about, the simple engine, the basic suspension, the no-frills design, were exactly what made the bike so reliable in the real world. Whether these suspicions had any merit or were just the natural skepticism of passionate owners, they helped cement the KLR's reputation as the underdog champion of the adventure world. A bike that succeeded not because of marketing hype, but despite its absence. The resurrection. When Kawasaki discontinued the KLR650 in 2018, the adventure riding community went into mourning. Nothing else offered the same combination of simplicity, reliability, and affordability. Used KLR prices skyrocketed as riders hoarded the remaining examples, but Kawasaki was listening. In 2022, they brought the KLR back with fuel injection, updated styling, and modern electronics. The engine remained fundamentally unchanged, still a 651 cubic centimeter single, still liquid-cooled, still built to last forever. The new KLR proved that sometimes the old ways are the best ways. In a world of complex computer-controlled motorcycles that require dealer service for every hiccup, the KLR's mechanical simplicity felt revolutionary. The verdict. So what's the shocking truth about the Kawasaki KLR650 single engine? It's that in an industry obsessed with horsepower, technology, and image, Kawasaki built something better, an engine that just works. For the mature rider, that experienced motorcyclist over 45 who has the money to buy whatever he wants and the wisdom to know what really matters, the KLR650 engine represents everything right about motorcycling. It's honest, dependable, and built to last. Yes, it vibrates. Yes, it's heavy. Yes, the doohickey will eventually break. But when you're 500 miles from nowhere and your bike is the only thing standing between you and a very long walk, you want that agricultural single thumping beneath you. The KLR650 engine isn't the most sophisticated power plant ever built. It's not the most powerful or the most refined, but it might just be the most important. A reminder that sometimes simple is better. In a world of disposable motorcycles designed to be replaced every few years, the KLR650 engine stands as a monument to old-school engineering values. It's proof that when you build something right the first time, it can last forever. And for the riders who understand that the journey matters more than the destination, that reliability trumps horsepower, and that the best adventures happen on the road less traveled, well, they already know the truth about the KLR650 engine. It's not just a motor, it's a philosophy on two wheels.